Hello and welcome to another episode 3 of Mark My Words. So, a podcast and YouTube video aimed at helping businesses and charities with top tips to make them better in what they do. So, today, I warmly welcome Nicky Thomas from the growth community. Hello, Nicky.
Hello, Mark. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us. I say us because I've got a cat just out of action, just off camera, so it's all good. So, first of all, Nicky, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm Nicky Thomas. During a pandemic, I decided to start a networking organisation called the Growth Community. And I basically, I run the Growth Community. I set it up from scratch, and it's all about creating a community of like-minded people who want to help and support each other's success and growth.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, so not the easiest of things to do during the pandemic, but
No, not for the faint-hearted.
brilliant. So I guess a key part to what you do is around networking. So what is networking, for the layperson, as it were? What does that mean?
It's actually funny, I think people sometimes overcomplicate what networking actually is. And I think we're networking all the time. We have been networking all the time since probably we were in our teens, really. Networking is something we do. We meet people, we get to know people, and then we introduce other people to each other when we start to like them. And business networking really is just a slightly more deliberate thing. It's what we do all the time. So it's really just about making new business friends and getting to know them, getting to find out more about them, and vice versa, and then being able to open new doors for each other so that we can make new acquaintances that can help us, grow our business. So whether that's through referrals, whether that's through learning new things of how to run our business, because none of us went to business school, so we're all learning all the time, and whether it's just being a business owner can be incredibly isolating. Sometimes it feels very lonely, and having a team around you of people who are also in business, it can be incredibly supportive at the times when we need it. But also, it's a bunch of people around to celebrate with you when it's going well. So I think networking is a lot of things, but essentially it is going out and deliberately making new friends, new business friends, and working out how you can help each other be successful, really.
Thank you. See, all that sounds good to me. So why is it that people hate networking so much? Why do they loathe it?
Well, I think there's a combination of things, really. I mean, for some people, the thought of walking into a room that's full of people is very scary, actually. And if you don't really know what you're doing, that can feel very uncomfortable. I think we've all had experiences of going to networking where you've had the person who's just come up and tried to hard sell you, and that can be very off-putting too. Networking is not a sales activity, it's a marketing activity. So we don't want people to sell to us. We want people to get to know us. We want to it's the lead generation kind of slowly getting into that part of the process. So I think people just think networking is going to be quite hard work, and I think they think they've got to sell to people, and that all feels very, very uncomfortable. But I think the reality is, if you just go into it with the intention of making some new friends, actually that doesn't feel quite so scary or unpleasant. And yeah, you will find the odd person along the way who's not so nice, but that's like everything. No matter where you go, you'll meet someone like that. So I think when you change your mentality, networking becomes something quite enjoyable.
So thinking about then the pandemic, how do you think the pandemic's changed networking? And also, what do you think it will be like in, say, 6 months or a year?
Well, I think the pandemic was just a complete, doors went down completely, wasn't it? I mean, there was no option. It was right. You can't see anyone. The only way you're going to be able to grow your business and promote your business and continue marketing your business, you've got to actually go on Zoom. So we've all had to go on Zoom. We've all been on the baptism of fire of the whole online thing. I actually had incredibly low expectations about online networking. I had actually done a lot of Zoom before and Skype and various things because my territory was quite big, so I used to wander around, and it was easier sometimes to talk to people on a video call. But people were very They didn't really like it, didn't really want to do it, you know. And so Zoom, I think the pandemic has brought that whole thing forward by about 10 years or something. I think, you know, it's created an amazing opportunity, and I've totally eaten my words. Online networking has exceeded my expectations by about 10,000 miles. Done properly, it's incredibly effective, and I am amazed at the level of relationships that have been built during the pandemic in this environment. It's extraordinary, actually. I actually met someone for the first time the day that I'd never met for a year, and it was weird. It felt like we were really good friends, but
yeah.
But just strange, strange. But anyway, I think in terms of where we're going in the next sort of 6 months, it's going to be a really weird time, I think, because whereas before it was like, you know, doors went down, Zoom or nothing. What we've got going forward now is an array of options: better Zoom, not Zoom, face to face, you know, whatever. I don't think people really know what they want yet. I think there's going to be a bit of a Mardi Gras where everyone's like, yeah, let's get out and see each other. But I think people are going to settle down into a bit of a hybrid. I think they will want to see people face to face when it's the high value stuff, and when it's just a quick, let's just get on and meet some people. Why wouldn't you do that on Zoom? Why would you travel miles and pay money and just to go and meet a few faces when you can get online, meet some faces, and arrange some coffees and do something useful with it? So I think it'll be really interesting to see where it goes from here. I don't think we're out of the woods with this pandemic yet, so who knows where it'll go. But I do think Zoom is here to stay, and I think we're still going to be very much taking advantage of the opportunities.
I think that one of the things that surprised me is how even in online you're still able to do quite a lot, not quite the same, but quite a lot of that range of different networking. So from that speed networking, literally you're shoved in a Zoom room with 2 people for a couple of minutes, versus that really open stuff, you know, see what happens, versus, you know, smaller groups and stuff. I don't know if you've got a preference or...
Well, I actually like a bit of everything, really, and I do encourage people to do a bit of everything. I mean, in terms of the results, I like referral style networking because there's that commitment to developing relationships with a group of people who you are getting to know on a really deep level, who you are proactively working with to help each other properly grow your business. But equally, we need to. I always use the terminology of an octopus. People laugh at me, but you know, when we're going out and meeting people, these tentacles are spreading out and spreading out and spreading out into new places. You know, and that we need to go and do lots of different types of networking to do that. Every person we speak to is a new door that opens somewhere to someone new. So we need to do a bit of both. So either, you know, you do what you like, you do what you're comfortable with. If you like speed networking, do it. If you don't do a table shuffle or you know, do an open networking or whatever it is you need to do. Do what's good for you, but I always do think a selection is the right mix, I think, to get a different group of people around you.
I love that octopus analogy. So I talk about a swan in terms of, you know, mindset, sort of being calm and gliding on the top, even though underneath you're paddling away. So I think I've got to add octopus now to my variety of creatures. And
it's really fascinating. Apparently each of their legs has like this kind of independent brain thing going on, and that's why I love it. I love this idea that all these legs are going off in these deliberate places and doing something really intelligent, you know, and that is what's happening. They're all going off and opening new doors and having new opportunities and making new friends and learning new things, you know. And I just think that is what networking is like. That's exactly why we go out to do it.
So you've heard it here. Nikki says, "Be an octopus." There you go.
Be an octopus, yeah. I've actually got a mug with that on it. Be yourself, or be an octopus if you can be an octopus.
Brilliant, love it. Changing subject slightly. So in terms of social media and social networking, how does that fit into it, and how does that help, or I'd say help rather than hinder?
Well, I've talked about this quite a bit, particularly with Be More Social, actually, in that I believe that social media and social networking, they kind of do the same thing. It's about raising your profile. It's about educating people on what you do, and creating new relationships, and then utilizing that. And I think marketing in general is the same thing. But I think, when you go out to do that, you go out to do your sort of social stuff, you are raising your profile, you are showing people what your credibility, and you're showing what you can do and how you can help people. So I think they all kind of go hand in hand, really.
Okay, cool. And social media wise, what's your platform of choice, would you say, and why, particularly with the networking hat on?
I love LinkedIn. I originally went out with this idea to do lots and lots of different social channels, but I think the reality is, if you do one really, really well, and it's delivering you results, then for me it was not kind of muddy the water too much. So most of my effort goes on LinkedIn. I like LinkedIn. It's not really like a normal social media channel. It's just like, well, I call it big networking in the sky, because that's kind of what it is, really. If you that's how you need to use LinkedIn. It's not the same as Facebook and some of the others. I have a presence on Facebook, and I have a presence on Instagram, although I'm not doing an awful lot there. And I think there's lots of opportunities out there for Clubhouse and all kinds of things. But for me at the moment, LinkedIn is working. It brings me leads. I make new friends. I can grow my profile, and it kind of ticks all the boxes for me at the moment.
I do think you are the LinkedIn queen. You've got a great feed, actually. Yeah, and yeah, very visible. So great. That's another muglet, LinkedIn queen.
I'll put that on the list.
Yeah. So thinking about so somebody that's still a bit reluctant and a bit nervous about networking, both online, in a virtual sense, and also sort of if and when we go back to face, what sort of three tips would you give them, if you like?
Well, I'll probably take them as two separate entities. So but the underlying thing is, if you're nervous, don't worry about it, because you're not the only person that is. Everybody's nervous. Everybody gets nervous at some point. Even if I go into a place, into a network I'm not familiar in, I still have to kind of, focus to just go, right, I'm going to do this. It doesn't, but everyone's nervous at some point, and so that's okay. If you're really, really nervous about an online thing, what I tend to say to people is, tell the organizer as you come in, just drop them a message privately and say, I'm really nervous, I'm not sure what I'm doing. And unless they're a really unpleasant person, which is highly unlikely because they've been through all of this, they're going to hold your hand and say, right, okay, what do you want to do? I've had people who've just come in and just literally sat there with their camera off and on mute and just watched the meeting. And that's what we've agreed. We've just said, okay, look, don't do anything. Just come and sit and watch and get familiar with it. And then next time you might want to put your camera on, and then let's work your way into it. So I think most organizers, they get this, they understand it. We've all been there. So don't be afraid to ask for help, because you'll find the networking community generally they're pretty supportive, and they know what it's like to feel like that. The best thing I can always say is be organized. The more organized you are, the less scared you'll feel. So think about what your 1 minute or your 40 seconds or whatever it is you're doing. Think about it beforehand, write it down if you need to, and read it if you need to. No one's going to have an issue with you. And if they do, just ignore them, because this is your business. And if you've got 40 seconds, I actually write my own pitch down in 40 seconds because I literally can't say anything in 40 seconds. So I write it down because I need to make sure that the 40 seconds counts. In the same way, if it's a minute or whatever it is, 2 minutes, just write it down. Keep yourself on track, and then you won't be as afraid because you feel more organized. And if you're going into a big event, then I have a little kind of plan for that, which is, a lot of people, you find them stood outside going, I don't want to go in, but go in. speak to the organizer, tell them it's your first time or that you're nervous. They will probably introduce you to somebody. If they, most people are going to do that for you. If there's not anyone around, it's a kind of a tick yourself in thing. The first thing you do is go to the coffee. Get yourself a coffee, calm yourself down. Someone is very likely going to come in behind you and get a coffee. And while they're having the coffee, smile at them and say hi, and then you've got someone to talk to. If nobody comes for coffee and you're stood there on your own looking at the sea of people, then look around the room and try and see which clusters of people look the least closed up together, and just go over and stand there, smile and just stand there and don't say anything. And people will finish off what they're saying and go, oh, hi, who are you? And you're in. If anyone's having a private conversation, they're not having it in a networking event. They'll take it outside. So you're not intruding. Just go and stand and look, smile and look interested in what they're saying. And then someone will ask you who you are and what you do. So that's my tips for this. And just don't worry about it. Everyone's nervous. Ask for help.
Really good top tips, I think. Yeah, brilliant. And I guess just a couple more questions. So if you could go back to your younger self, however far back you want to get back, but particularly in terms of the business advice or a key piece of information or advice that you know now that you wish you knew back then, what would you tell your younger self?
I think I would, oh God, there's so many things I'd tell my younger self. I think the main thing is to just not worry about what other people think. I think we all make a lot of decisions based on what we think other people think, what people will think of us, whether people will like us. I think we spend a lot of energy on a lot of that stuff, and what we need to do actually is just believe in ourselves and understand that we won't actually get on with everybody and that some people won't like us, and there's nothing we can do about that, and that actually you just need to concentrate on being a decent human being, getting on with what you're doing and adding some value to people, and accept that you won't always get on with everybody. And I think a lot of this comes with maturity and age. We believe in ourselves better, don't we? But I would say the other thing is ask for help. Always ask for help. Don't try and do a lot of the stuff on your own, because we don't know very much, actually. We need to ask for help. We need to be around people who can help us. But equally, believe in yourself too. Someone told me when I first started my first networking business, they said, oh, why are you doing that? There's loads of networking in Doncaster. That'll never work. I would really advise you not waste your money. Don't do it. They actually said that to me, and I just thought, oh my God, I'm going to do it anyway. So I did, thankfully. But you feel strongly about something, then get some help and just go do it, and don't worry about if people don't like you, because there's always going to be someone who won't.
And I think that word value is really important. So both in terms of what are your own values, but also, like you said, what value do you give to others? Because actually people really buy in with that, don't they? And if you're genuine and if you're there to help somebody, chances are they're likely to help you back. And chances are, if you ask for help, you might get a lot of no's, but you'll also probably get quite a few yeses as well.
Yeah, exactly. And if someone says no to you, then, move on. I think, there are lots of people who will say yes. And I think the important thing about networking is, if you are a decent human being and you want to help other people, they'll want to help you back. And, it doesn't matter what you do. You don't have to do big, giant referrals in the first time you go out. Actually, just, introducing someone to someone new, or liking their social media or engaging in their social media. All these things are really nice, kind things to do. And people appreciate them. And if you go out with the intention of just trying to help other people without a tally chart, without your hand out waiting for the next thing, you'll find that you will automatically have a lot of people who want to reciprocate and help you back. It's as simple as that.
Brilliant. Okay. So I've got to ask, have you got any embarrassing networking stories? Not to put people off, but, you're still standing, and of course you run networking for a business. So, it's all fine.
Well, I think to be fair, it's like anything really. I have a terrible memory for people's names. I'm really good at faces. I'm brilliant at it. If I saw you in a really random place, I would recognise you, but I wouldn't know what your name is, or I'd be struggling to find your name. And I get people's names wrong a lot. Or I stand in the worst thing is when you're standing in a networking event and someone's going, "Oh, Nicky this and Nicky that," and then and you're with this person. I'm thinking, I don't know who you are. I can't remember ever speaking to you. I don't know who you are. And any minute now, you're going to want me to introduce you. And I'm sitting there staring at them thinking, oh, I can't remember who you are. I just, I recognize you, but I literally don't know. I've got no context around you. And that can be really difficult sometimes, because sometimes when people know you a lot, particularly if they've seen you on LinkedIn, they feel like they know you, but you don't know them. And sometimes it can be very awkward, and you don't know who they are, and you don't know what their names are, and we've all, I mean, the amount of times that I've just literally stood there thinking, please don't ask me to introduce you. Or I have to nip off outside and quickly go on LinkedIn and figure out who they are, and then come back and go, oh yeah, I know you, you're Mark Smith. That's fine, let me introduce you to such and such.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that. Forget, because again, particularly when you're meeting so many different people in so many different contexts, it's really hard, isn't it, to switch hats sometimes. And
yeah, and for you, you've got a number of different things. So people are in strange contexts, and if they turn up in a context that's not the context you're expecting them to be in, that's even more confusing. So, and also because some people on LinkedIn have a very different photo to what they actually look like in real life, and they're chatting away like they know you, and you're thinking, I don't know who you are. It's awful, isn't it? You feel terrible, and yeah, it can get very embarrassing. But yeah, we survive.
Keep smiling. And is there anything else that you want to say, or any other tips, or anything else you want to talk about in terms of networking and what you do?
For me, I would just say, go do some networking. Do networking that makes you happy. Don't do networking that people say you should do. Don't disregard a networking group because someone said they didn't like it, because it might work for you. Just go out, make some business friends, and do some favors for people, and you'll be amazed at what actually happens when you do. And what I love about the growth community is that we've just got this group of like-minded people who genuinely want to help each other be successful and grow their business. And it's genuine, and I think that's the word that's really important. It has to be genuine and authentic. There has to be that desire to do it, and not to tally chart how many things you've done versus what I've done. And obviously it has to be fair to some degree, but I just say to people, just go out and do it. It's such a nice way to grow your business, and alongside everything else you do, it can be one of the most successful ways to grow your business too. So and if anyone would like to come and sample the growth community, they're very welcome to do so. We don't sell to anybody, so you can just come and enjoy it. But that's my view. Go and do some networking that you enjoy, where you feel happy, with a group of people that you feel you can work with, and that's really important.
I was going to say, if somebody does want to try it out, what should they do?
Well, excitingly, they can go to the website and book online now, so which is very exciting. So you can go to the website, which is thegrowthcommunity.co.uk. And you'll see all 8 meetings there, and you can book online and come along and see us. You can be a guest up to 6 times a year without any membership obligation. But if you are serious about growing your business, then getting a core team of people around you that can really get to know you and your business well is a really useful way to spend some marketing budget, because that's what networking is. It's a marketing spend. So and we offer lots of support and training and all kinds of things to help people get the most out of it. So
very good. I know I've been to a few. Yeah, and just to echo what you said, it's good to meet people, and then of course to follow up with the one-to-ones and the virtual chats.
Oh yes, absolutely. There's no point in doing networking if you don't have the follow-up chats. That is actually absolutely essential. And I always say to people, if you go out networking, just have the entire goal of meeting 2 or 3 people that you're going to have a conversation with afterwards, and just see where it goes. If you don't do that, don't go.
And I think I think that's a really good point. So it's that quality rather than quantity. So, back in when we were face to face, rather than, go around and get 50 business cards and not even speak to somebody, actually have those 2 or 3 quality conversations where you can then follow up and have that in more depth, regardless of whether you're likely to ever do business with the thing that they're selling. Yeah,
because you probably won't do business with them, but you don't know who they know. If you think about it, most people have got at least 250 contacts on their phone, never mind everyone else they know. The people that they meet all over the place. They are all potentially business for you if these guys know how to go find it for you. And Bob Berg, he wrote The Go Giver, he always says you give out a business card to get a business card, and then you need to spend the majority of time finding out about the person you're talking to and how you can help them. And if you ask them, how can I help you, that person you're going to go up the ladder of know, like, trust really quickly, because how many people ever ask that?
What a simple question, but you're right. Yeah, how many people ask that? Excellent. So, speaking of asking questions, is there anything you want to ask me? This is the bit I dread at the end of
it. So what's your favourite kind of networking then?
I think it's the kind of semi-structured stuff. So, where you, again, going back into the days when we could meet in person, where there's a bit of really informal, it's up to you what it looks like, might have a bite to eat, whatever, and then you do the sort of table shuffles, so where there might be 8 people on a table, a couple of minutes to talk, say your thing, and then move around. And my top tip for that is try and be one of the last people to speak, because then you can suss out who's on the table. So I've done that before, where I've gone with an intention in mind. This is with another organisation I've worked with, to talk about a certain product or service, and then being the last to hear, I thought, actually that's not going to resonate with any of them, so I'll talk about something else. So it's not wasting an opportunity. Yeah, I think
that's a good tip, actually, because I think sometimes people just want to get their pitch over with, and that's it, isn't it? I hope that people do go back to those more sort of table shuffle, have something to eat things. A lot of people are going, I won't be doing that anymore. But I do hope people do go back to a lot of that, because I think you do need some very structured stuff, but you need some very social stuff as well. We are, at the end of the day, trying to make friends. And if you aren't just relaxing with somebody and enjoying the conversation, there's no friendship going to happen. It's just a big sales pitch.
Absolutely. And then you're like repelling magnets, aren't you?
So, yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Nicky, for your time. It's really...
Not at all. It's been really enjoyable.
Thank you very much, and hope to catch up with you soon on one of your network meetings.
You certainly can.
So if you've liked what you've heard today and watched, please like, share, review. And also, if you've got any suggestions of who else you might want me to speak to in future Mark My Words episodes, please let me know. So thanks again, Nicky, for your time.
Thank
you.
And
thank you for listening and watching. Thank you. Bye-bye.